Hello and welcome to i-nastava. Today's English class is for the third year. The topic is needs versus wants. My name is Stephanie Kate Lukač and I'll be your teacher for the day. By the end of the class, you will have analyzed your spending habits. You'll need your notebook, something to write with, a device with internet connection, and if possible, a QR code scanner. Feel free to pause the video anytime you need. You've seen the beginning of what your needs are and what your wants are. Give these two games a try. You need to choose which items are wants and which items are needs. Pretty simple, right? Pause the video once again in order to take a moment and think about this. Write down 15 things you've bought within the past month. Once you've done this, categorize them using two columns. Which items are wants and which items are needs? Take a look at your list and categories. Where are most of your purchases? Under the needs column or the wants? My guess is, although I could be wrong, that the answer is wants, or at least half. Are you surprised? As I had asked just a moment ago, do you have more needs or wants on your list? What do you think the reasons for this are? Are there any similarities or patterns on both sides? How do you feel about your spending habits? Would you change anything? Do you have a budget? If not, do you think it's necessary? Keep these questions in mind for your next task. If you'd like, pause the video in order to write the questions or your answers down. I'd like you to make a short 2-minute recording about your answers and opinions on this matter and send it to your teacher. You don't necessarily have to just stick to those questions only. You can expand on the issue. Now would be a good time to pause the video in order to do the task. Remember, taking notes beforehand always helps, just so you don't go off track while recording. Here you can take a short break from writing with this link or QR code. You need to choose the correct word and insert it into the text. Be careful, there are extra words. Make sure to check what you've chosen before making your final decision. Good luck! For this task, you'll find some useful information regarding budgeting in your teens. I'd like you to make a list of the tips from the article and write a short summary per tip. 1 to 2 sentences or notes will be fine. Shorten the information with only the most important points, remembering not to copy word for word. The first tip was to know your income, or add all the profits together. For example, pocket money, job, gifts, etc. The second tip, create budget categories, is where you list your expenditures, where money is going, so the saving and spending. The third tip, pick a budgeting strategy, involves methods to help you. So you've got pay yourself first, where savings first and then spend what's left over. You got zero-based method, where you have income minus expenses equals 0. And you got the 50-30-20 method, where you use 50% for your needs, 30% for other expenses or your wants, and 20% for savings on the side. The fourth tip, save first, spend later, is where you make saving a priority. This helps with self-discipline. The fifth tip, set goals, helps with motivation to stick to your budget. The sixth one, track your habits, is where you write down where you're spending your money. This helps with possible cost cutting. The seventh tip, adjust your budget, is where you can change according to needs or wants to avoid overspending or assist with saving up. Learning from your mistakes means that you don't let mistakes demotivate you. You learn from them for future goals and not to make the same mistake again. The ninth tip, where you earn more with a side hustle. If possible, you can make some extra money on the side. For example, as a teen, with dog walking or peer tutoring or whatever job is available. The 10th tip, be a spending minimalist, is to spend less money using cost-effective methods. For example, go second-hand shopping instead of buying expensive brand names. The 11th tip, don't give in to peer pressure, is resist the urge to keep up with the Joneses. Real friends don't care about what you're wearing or where you're going. How often has this happened to you? Somebody else buys something so you feel that you need to have it. The 12th tip, seek out help, is don't be afraid to ask for help from your parents or search online. The 13th tip, find a way to have fun. So to use your phone, like social media or apps or videos, to learn more about finances, something that's useful to you. And the last tip, follow money-minded influencers. It's kind of similar to the 13th one, but you're using social media with real people to learn more and to get tips. Now, you might not have exactly the same words as I've got here, but if you've got the main ideas and the gist of it, that's what counts. You're going to watch a video about which questions you should ask yourself before buying anything. Write down those 5 questions, but my advice would be to really listen to what the woman is saying, how she's expanding upon the questions. I think you'll really find them useful. And here they are. Can you afford it? Now, there were some sub-questions involved here, like will this purchase cause problems for something down the road? Have you paid yourself first? And how are you going to pay for it? Which all comes down to, can you afford it? The second question, how often will you use the item? The third question, can you borrow it? Number 4, can you make it? And number 5, can you get it cheaper? Have you ever asked yourself any of these questions when making a purchase? Keep these in mind because I'd like you to go back to your list that you made in the beginning of the lesson, the 15 things you bought within the last month. No matter which category you put the items under, go through these questions from the video and answer them honestly. How many of your items could you have avoided buying? For example, could you have borrowed or made any of these purchases? Looking back, how many of these things did you use just once and put it aside, or even forgot that you bought it? Could you have gotten anything cheaper? Maybe you could have waited for a sale, or shopped around in various stores to find a better price. Believe me, I can't tell you how many times I came across the same or similar item that I had bought somewhere else, and it was much cheaper. I wanted to kick myself then. With some of your purchases, patience can really pay off. After taking a good long look at your list, how many of your items can you say were actually wants, and how many were really needs? For your final task, use this link or QR code to open an article with this infographic regarding Croatian research on financial literacy among teenagers. I'd like you to take that information and make a written summary in English. Use your own words, be clear, and don't translate directly from Croatian to English. That's not a summary. A summary is like a cheat sheet for the reader, in this case, your peers. They should know what the article is about without actually having to read it. Keep in mind that because your friends or equals are your audience, you don't need to use formal language. Keep watching so you can see the rubric for this task in order to help you. Have you clearly identified the main points from the article using your own words and without translation? Is all your information accurate from the article? Is it easy to understand? Do you have a wide range of vocabulary? How is your spelling, by the way? Is your summary too short or too lengthy? Remember, just as it's not a good idea to be too short, it's also not a good idea to be too long, because you're probably going off track and giving too much detail that isn't necessary. Not to mention, you're giving yourself more work than is necessary. Keep it relatively short, to the point, and check over your work before handing it in to the teacher. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson and learned something new and useful about your finances. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourself.